Hello, I'm Miss Mather and I'm going to be talking to you about the GCSE Fine Art option that we run here at the Vale. So to give you an idea of what we cover over the course, you will be using the skills that you learn already from Key Stage 3, refining and developing those and strengthening them further. You'll also be trying out a wide range of new materials and processes. So we'll be teaching you some new processes using drawing materials. So we'll be doing things like drawing with ink, drawing in pencil, working with charcoal, working with oil pastels. We also use a range of different painting methods. So we'll be doing some watercolour work, acrylic painting. We'll be doing work with brusho. You will also work in other different drawing materials like collage, so you'll be looking at cutting and sticking and combining materials together to create imagery. We do a range of different print methods which you will have a go at, so things like lino printing, poly printing, mono printing. We try a real range of things. You will also do some further 3D work, so we'll be looking at sculpting, and you'll be using cardboard, mod rock, paper mache. We also look at using clay. So it's a real variety of different things that you will try out over the course. Alongside this, we also do some digital work. So we use things like Photo Plus, where we look at manipulating and transforming imagery using the computer. To complement the work that you actually create yourself, we also look at the artwork of other artists and different cultures. We actually research about the artists, we analyse their artwork, and then we take ideas from those artists that we look at to then develop our own artwork further. You'll be looking at also presenting your work in different ways, and you will have choice over how you do this. So you can present in sketchbooks, we can work on presentation boards, you can also create artwork on canvases, you can present work on MDF. So there's a real range and variety of different things that you will be trying. In terms of how the GCSE art course is assessed, there are essentially two elements. There's component 1, which is coursework, and there's component 2, which is the exam. Coursework is 60% of the final assessment grade, and the exam is 40% of the final assessment grade. For the coursework, we run two projects. We do one which is based on surfaces and textures, and we also give students the opportunity to develop a project which is personally selected by the individual student, so they have the chance to choose something of real interest to them. In component 2, students are actually given a brief by the exam board, and on that exam brief there are 7 starting point themes, and they have the opportunity to choose one theme from that set of 7 themes and to base a whole project based on that. At the end of that project, they will need to produce a final piece which is produced under supervised exam conditions of 10 hours. In terms of how the GCSE art course is assessed, it is assessed throughout. Component 1 is assessed by the teacher throughout the project. Verbal feedback is given in lesson, and it is also formally assessed, so students are actually given written feedback about their work and how they're achieving. This is actually using the GCSE assessment framework criteria, which you can see on the right hand side of the screen. So students will become very familiar with that assessment criteria throughout and what exactly they need to do in order to achieve the higher assessment levels. Component 2, the exam, it is assessed using the same assessment criteria. So having become very familiar with this over the coursework, students will actually be very aware of what they need to do in order to get the higher assessment grades, and students will be given kind of advice and guidance throughout the exam on how to achieve the next levels and to push themselves to achieve their best. Moderation, both component 1 and component 2 are moderated following completion of the course. So they're assessed by the teacher at the end of the course. They're also internally some moderation takes place between teachers within school, and also AQA external moderators come into our centre and check that assessment is fair and accurate. In class we'll be doing a range of activities. Some of the activities we'll be doing are retrieval tasks, so we'll be doing things like recalling information, keywords, vocab, knowledge from previous lessons. We'll be doing things like quizzes, tasks that involve recording prior knowledge and going over this to embed it. We'll also be doing a range of different practical drawing tasks, so we'll be looking at using different drawing media. Some of these will be media you've already explored, so things like pencil and pen. Some of the materials we'll be using will be new varieties of media, or media used in a different way, so things like charcoal, ink, chalks, collage. We'll also be doing some digital drawing, so there'll be a full range of different processes and techniques using drawing materials you'll try. We'll also try some different paint application skills using different paint media, so things like watercolour, acrylic, gouache. We'll explore different methods of applying those, ways of getting different effects with those, and exploring the properties of those to increase the effects within your artwork. We'll also be looking at developing your 3D skills, so you'll be doing things like card relief, clay work. We'll be doing assemblage. Assemblage is when we actually use found objects and assemble them together to create a piece. We'll be using Modrock as well. So a full range of 3D materials and different techniques with those. We'll look at printing methods. So for this we'll be doing monoprinting, polyprinting, lino printing, collagraph printing. So all kind of very different methods in art of creating a range of prints and creating different effects. We will, in each lesson, I will be showing you live modelling of tasks and demonstrations of how to apply different materials and how to skillfully control different techniques and processes. We'll also be looking at recording written information, so we'll be looking at the artwork of others, and I'll be asking you to write down information about artists' backgrounds in your own words, and also actually look at analysing other artists' work as well as your own artwork, and using art vocab to do that. Finally, there will be some practical formal assessments, so work will be formally assessed. There will be assessment style tests, and also there'll be mock exams, and obviously your actual exam at the end of year 11. Visiting the Yorkshire Sculpture Park, which is in Wakefield. The park itself is absolutely beautiful, and it has a series of artworks that are there all year round, as well as visiting exhibitions of new artists. The artwork, it's an opportunity for students to actually see it live, to experience it. They can actually, in the park itself, take photographs, touch the artwork. They can actually draw from the artwork live. There are also gallery spaces where the students can learn about the artists and research in more detail some of their artwork. The trip itself is a really great experience because it allows the students to come away with a whole host of resources that they can then use to extend their marks for assessment criteria 1, which is all about the students using the work of others to further develop their own ideas and art. We also, alongside this, give students the opportunity to extend their work by attending after-school sessions. They run weekly on a Monday, Wednesday and Thursday from 3:10 to 4:30, and this is a great opportunity for students to actually come, use the studio, use the facilities, develop even more artwork and kind of experience additional support from the teacher. In terms of the next steps, a GCSE in art can lead on to many other qualifications and can open doors for students. It can lead on to art apprenticeships, A-levels within art, creative degrees. Sometimes students do what's called an art diploma. An art diploma allows students the opportunity to explore a wide range of different areas of art, so things like fashion, graphics, 3D work, printing, photography, and from that they can actually then start to specialise and focus in on areas of art they're more interested in to start to develop their career or ideas of what they might want to study further. In terms of jobs available to students who study art, art actually gives students really good skills that are kind of widely desired within Britain and internationally. So things like good fine motor skills, presentation skills, and a good eye for aesthetics and presentation of things, problem solving skills. They are all things that are developed within art teaching. In terms of jobs, students can go on to become artists, art therapists, things like wedding planners, retail design, landscape designers, photographers, jewellery design, tattooists, animators. The lists are endless really. The opportunities out there are massive in terms of what art actually opens doors to. Thanks so much for listening to this presentation. If you have any queries, please don't hesitate to get in touch. I'm more than happy to discuss anything to do with your next steps in relation to art. Hopefully I might see some of you next year.